Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. Very respected Professor Bhushan Patwardhan, the inaugural chief guest for this seminar in absentia. I also pay my gratitude to Dr. Ujjwala Ma'am, Vice Chancellor, SNDT Women University. My very dear colleague, Dr. Jagmeet Madan, very nice to see you, ma'am, again. All the organizing committee members, including Dr. Rajshri, who has been interacting with me, of this prestigious college. I'll say it's a remarkable work that this particular seminar that you are doing, various good sessions being planned. And I will be just interacting on the front of the technology part as it has been assigned to me. And that is also my expert area, I can say, at the ground level working. So I have been working on the ground level in MOOCs and e-learning, e-content development, and now into teachers training. So thank you, Dr. Rajshri, for the remarks, for the introduction of me. And I also welcome all my dear colleagues who have joined in this seminar or webinar as participants. I'll just share my screen to take my presentation further. I hope my presentation is visible. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So I'll be speaking on innovation since technology-enabled learning in higher education institutions for the new normal. And this new normal, I think we all now know this corona, and still we are not out, but I think we'll have to adapt to the changes. And in this last 1.5 or more years, how education system has, I think, benefited the most is by the acceptance of technology. Because for our team who has been working from almost like myself in e-learning from 25 years and at national level from a decade, we have been working into teachers training. Teachers were actually not ready. We have been giving trainings, hand holding all. Many seniors were not very ready. But I think when there was no alternative. So if we say who has brought technology in education, I think we should be thankful to Corona. Very otherwise for the human race, it has been very unkind. But at least for education system, for us, I think we have been thrown into the swimming pool, which we were afraid of whether we should learn the swimming or not. We have been now just put up inside the pool of technology and we have to learn. But we have to learn not just to survive, but to be expert so that we can benefit the entire education system and society on the whole. So with these words, I'll start my presentation. And I think before we go into technology, let's go back. Hallmark of education system has been, it changes with time. But somehow, the teachers of this generation are so much holding up this chalk and board that we just, let's see where we started. We had the group Shishya Parampara, where 1, 2, 4 or 5, and then the equity and access was lacking. I think we have many stories where not everyone was given the privilege of going into these because 1, 2, many was not possible. Maybe there was constraints. And then as we moved in, how do you preserve the knowledge? Where again, I think India has such rich heritage, but then somehow we are not able to put it at the global way. So we had been writing on stones. Imagine the plight of the teachers and those who are learned people who are writing so that it is preserved for the future generation on stones, on leaves. Come on, we are more blessed that way. Then came Takhti Kalam, slate and chalk, paper, pencil, pen with the, you had initially black and white, but then colors were used to make notes and all. And came the era of chalk and board. But somehow we are all clinging into and we are waiting. Let the corona go and we'll go back to the same thing. I think no, we have to prepare for the new normal, and we should be taking in a blended mode, which I will like to comment upon. We also had overhead projectors, computers, projector writing tools are not there. And we were also, many classrooms were equipped with LCD projectors, where if you compare, the teacher who is only using board is not facing towards the student, which was there in the Gurukul. The Gurukul, you had the Shishya and Guru facing eye to eye, that eye contact, and there's more learning, there's more personalized learning. But now, due to the massification, how you show them, then definitely this was a boon, and we took this further. Projector, along with PowerPoint and other technology interventions, will bring the teacher back to face the students, as well as show the material and give his her own way. But there has to be a proper way. It should not be just whatever is written, the same is being spoken. So that's where the newer pedagogies that we have to be involving. And came the coronavirus pandemic, where now the students are not in front of us, and now we have only these machines. Students are sitting in their home, whether they are really attending, not attending. So the pedagogies have to be evolved around that. Many teachers are also juggling in this time to be recording their videos, but then how professionally it should be done, there's again a big question mark that we have to learn and make a good material available. So what I will say, that in the 21st century, now it is difficult to imagine education without technology. And all of us, thanks to Corona, have started believing this. Yes, this is going to be empowering us. Higher education problems also can be solved to a greater extent with the help of technology. Because higher education, if we see, we have to be giving quality education with access and equity in mind. But then technology has to be enabler, it has to be empowering. There are some plethora, millions of tools, but which, where, how it has to be used, that is the understanding that we have to gain, and where it can reduce our manual effort and can empower us as teachers, can empower our students. That is where we have to really take these tools into higher education. National Education Policy 2020 also emphasizes on the extensive use of technology in teaching learning, removing language barriers, increasing access, as well as education planning and management. If you look at what all we can try to overcome with the help of technology, the current higher education scenario, if you look from 1950, where there were only 25 universities, 700 colleges, 15,000 teachers, and very few students. Now we have more than 1,000 universities, more than 50,000 colleges, 1.5 million teachers, 37.4 million students. So there has been a consistent growth in terms of creating the good infrastructure for higher education. But then if you look at National Education Policy 2020, which is aiming to have 50% gross enrollment ratio by 2035, which is 26.3% in 2018, are we ready to reach that by simply the same conventional way of higher education? The answer is no. We have to embrace technology. We'll have to look into the goal of this, where we can take as many stakeholders in higher education and serve the purpose of aims of higher education. And that's where the role of entire e-learning, blended learning, MOOCs, online, which will be coming. I'll start from that. So e-learning is electronic learning, but then E is just a mechanism, just like earlier the Guru Shishya were just talking, there was no written thing. So there were some gaps there. We moved to chalk and board. The chalk and board were again the tools to where we can communicate better. But now using technology, these are again tools. The emphasis is still on learning. These are just the ways to empower us. The concept of MOOCs is now a reality in India since 2015. Massive open online courses are available and more than 2,000 courses are available on SWAYAM portal. And students can earn even credits by taking these up to 20%. This was the initial Gazette notification. And now in 2021, it has been increased up to 40%. But then this again, from teacher's perspective, we have to look at how meaningfully it has to be integrated. Not that the routine courses where the teachers are teaching, we say now they become online and the teachers are pushed out of the system. No, we'll have to work out on the flavors, the missing things in CBCS, the choice-based credit system, such an aspirational concept. But in reality, even in face-to-face, we have not really implemented in a true manner, I will say, because in a class, looking at the constraint again of how many teachers, what specializations they are having, we are not giving them the options and electives. If every student wants a different elective course or a optional course, are we able to give them in a face-to-face scenario? The answer is no, and the solution is MOOCs. So there is a need to develop MOOCs which are offering the students these options and electives. Why a student sitting in Delhi cannot do a course which is expertise in fishery, maybe the Goa University will be providing, and similarly. So all these boundaries, the physical boundaries which the students are located into, can we eliminate those also to some extent and provide our learners the different options and electives is what the MOOCs can offer. Also, the MOOCs can offer material which will be helping as a supplementary material in the existing face-to-face classroom scenario. And I'll talk about the flipped classroom model where it can be beautifully integrated. Now, also we have the provision of fully online programs. This Gazette notification is there, and I was a member of committee who have drafted these regulations. So some institutions which are keeping these quality parameters, now they can offer fully online program. Fully online program, again, not to that we are shutting these face-to-face university. Many teachers are having this, that when online comes, our jobs will go. No, so much is required. The lifelong learners, the students who are going into job because of some economical reason, but they also want to pursue higher education. So that's the spirit where the fully online degree programs the students can do, and those who cannot go into some university for some particular courses, okay, they are far located, and if they also want to add that, so these programs will be providing that provision. But then the MOOCs or the online courses and also the open educational resources being created by many groups at the national level, at the state level, all these are aimed to empower the entire higher education system where teachers and students will be using and benefiting. But then all will become a success if the quality is kept in mind. Just like we are talking about the quality of the study material or the type of interaction the teacher is doing in face-to-face, now when we are moving into blended or online, the quality of content along with the interactions happening with teacher virtually, they also play very, very significant role. Talking about e-content, briefly, one can say anything which is available on a www platform or it is just a multimedia content. But then we have to be very cautious when we have these content. Any e-content which is very flashy looking, animated, it has more visual and learning impact on the learners. So if it has incorrect information or it is conceptually wrong, then it will have multiplier effect on the learner's retention. So that is what we have to take care. So those teachers who are now coming forward in preparing these MOOCs and e-content, the content should be error free. In our class we may say, okay, this was wrong in my earlier class, let me rectify. But these once recorded, I think we have to be taking very important care. On the other hand, we may be creating e-content where we're just writing on the board, or just scanning the books, or the putting the PDFs or the docs. These are giving some access, but they are not using the technology to their best, where the use of animation, the use of videos, the way how you can bring flavors into otherwise a single teacher driven class can be now a multi teacher. You can have discussions with other teachers captured in that. You can have interviews with some stalwarts. So all those flavors are waiting to be recorded in the videos, and that is what will be. So technically, it should be sound, subject wise it should be. So I'll say it has to be a perfect blend of subject specific requirements as well as technical specific requirements, and that too as per the level of learner. Here entire concept of instructional designing from e-learning point of view comes, where if I try to understand, make you understand in a very simple way, if you are making e-content for a nursery or a KG class student, then obviously putting text will be boring for her or him. But if you put characters, you put cartoons, it becomes interesting. But the same cartoons will not work when you are having a UG or a PG level content. So depending upon what subject, what topic, what level of learner, and there should be minimal of text, more visuals. That is what the way you have to look up in preparing this content. So it is a blend of static content, it's multimedia enrichment. That is what we get e-content. There's so many activities and entire content development methodology that works around that. Briefly, although every slide I'm saying we go into detailed sessions about how the methodology and what are these 4 quadrants and all. For the teachers who are now participating in these, there is academic incentive which has been given by UGC as well as AICT for preparing MOOCs and e-content in 4 quadrant format. So you should have a detailed know-how on what 4 quadrants are, how do you design them, what minimum substance should be there in terms of the duration of videos, in terms of the content which is there, which will be making this qualify for themselves. And also, very importantly, the copyright, the fair use guidelines. If we are taking some open educational resources, even in our classroom delivery, in our classroom, we share these digital resources. Students will ask, Madam, give me the PDF of this book. We are going in the wrong path. You can give some part, but entire book, you are then harming the commercial interest of the publisher. So we have to keep all these things in mind, and teachers should be knowing the plagiarism and plagiarism checking tools also, so that even the assignment the students are submitting, we can check with them and give them that, okay, you're copying. So I think entire semester, not if you're giving many assignment, they are just copying and giving you, even if they are handwritten, has no significance. Rather, you give one meaningful assignment where you ensure that every student is coming out with their own construct, which is plagiarism free, is what again is the need of the hour, which technology can help. At our Center for E-Learning, we had contributed till now more than 50 MOOCs, 89 courses in EPG Pathshala in these 6 subjects. And I'll request all the teachers to start using this content freely in your class. These are our 6 subjects, but then at UGC level, almost now 77 subjects are complete. We were in the front runners to complete this project in record time. And out of the 63 PG level MOOCs rolled out in the first phase, 42 MOOCs had been prepared by our team. And now we have contributed many more MOOCs, help other universities also in the technical conversion. This Indian Cancer Society MOOC is ongoing for all, irrespective of the subject and any age. You can enroll freely. And this again, you will get the idea about how we can have society purposes also meet. And here we had discussions with various doctors, some cancer survivors also. So it will give you an idea that if you're inclined towards creating e-content, this being a very generic topic, you can see and come to know that, okay, what all technology can provide in terms of e-content development. Also, my own conceptualized teachers e-kit, almost more than 2,000 teachers across the country are now contributing in this part, where it is amalgamation of the subject, pedagogy, and ICT tools for every single small topic of one classroom delivery. It is a 4-quadrant model which has been evolved. And as per NEP 2020, what flipped classroom video can be prepared? So that is being prepared by teachers. How each and every question can be tagged with Bloom's taxonomy, as my previous speaker was very beautifully highlighting the entire assessment processes and techniques. So here it is like for every small topic, the teachers are working out in groups and preparing that, and the other teachers can benefit from these open educational resources. Talking about pedagogy, I think if we look into this line of National Education Policy 2020, pedagogy must evolve to make education more experiential, holistic, integrated, inquiry-driven, discovery-oriented, learner-centered, discussion-based, flexible, and of course, enjoyable. I think if as teachers, we are looking into this part, but then this is so much more that we have not been doing. We have been just sharing information. So how do we get time? We have many complaints like the syllabus is so overburdening. How do we get time for these? By the time our syllabus is so-called over, examination starts and we are then into next semester and so on. So we need to now work on newer pedagogies, the different ways how we transact our teaching, learning, and assessment. And that is what is going to be empowering. And that can be again with the help of technology. Most important is what do we teach where syllabi or curriculum comes into flow? How do we teach where our teaching learning processes? And how do we assess examination? Curriculum may be still made by a handful of people, but then what do we teach? How do we teach, and then how do we assess? Looking at the later two part is very important for every individual teacher and in every classroom. So the solution for the new normal is ICT empowered learning processes, which we say blended learning, and that too with integrating the outcome-based education. So outcome-based education with blended learning approach, where the entire program and curriculum design has to be looked from an approach, what the industry and the society requirements are, what skill sets, how the content development around those, the MOOCs or online courses or the way you are transacting, even if it is your blended teaching learning, what all will be given to the students as videos, whether they are the available MOOCs or some new open educational resources you are creating. And how in the flipped classroom methodology, in your face-to-face, you don't use your time for information sharing, but be interactive, give activities, discuss with the students, have projects as group projects and all, and the assessment have to be continuous. More number of assessments as also has been envisaged in NEP 2020, but if it is more number, will it mean trouble more to us? Some years, yes, but I think prepare well. If you can take the help of technology here, this is the area where you can strengthen, really empower yourself, and the students can attempt that on their own in the formative part, and you can be just there for the initial things and to take those discussions in your class. So when we talk about curriculum, it has to be an integrated approach for holistic development of students, molding into responsible Indian citizen to work globally. And I will emphasize on these graduate outcomes, which actually form the basis of designing the entire learning outcomes and the curriculum, where disciplinary knowledge is just one area out of the 15 attributes which have been mentioned in this UGC document. And somehow, as chemistry teacher, as physics teacher, as commerce teacher, we are just that this is the syllabi. No, come on, there is a difference between the curriculum and syllabi. And in the same syllabi, the different approaches of the pedagogies, the way you transact your teaching learning processes or do the assessment will ensure the students also develop other part. And what are the other attributes? Communication skills, critical thinking, problem solving, analytical reasoning, research related skills, cooperation or teamwork, scientific reasoning, reflective thinking, information or digital literacy, self-directed learning, multicultural competence, moral and ethical awareness or reasoning, leadership readiness or leadership qualities, and towards lifelong learning. Are we taking our students to be prepared in all these directions? I think as teachers, if we just start thinking on these, map whatever we have been doing in entire course, what activity is mapping to which particular outcome from our subject, I think we'll come to know where we are, and we have to improve upon this. As a matter of fact, AICT has done some effort for making books in regional languages, where there was a need for integrating that as per the outcome-based education. So just like UGC, there AICT also has graduate attributes. There are 15 of in UGC, and here there are 12. And here also the focus was that how to integrate activities and all, not simply the theory part, not simply whatever experiments we have, but how do we bridge the gap between the real life scenario, the industry application, the societal values, ethics, and all. And deliberately, there are case studies and other things which are being added in the new norm now. So how these activities have to be integrated, we have to keep in mind that are our students learning these 21st century skills? Are we giving them sufficient problem where they can analyze and apply to find solutions which will nurture their creative thinking? In college, we are talking about different subjects in isolation. Even not even subjects, I will say, our chapters are being isolated as if one chapter topic has nothing to do with the other chapter. So these bridges have to be gapped. There has to be an overview and interdisciplinary approach in the subject as well as across the discipline, because life is all about mixing of these, not simply that you'll get the, and everyone will get a different color and shade of problems as they go ahead. Industrial and real life application can be examples which will start preparing the students around. So I'll say in every subject, start looking around you for your topic, for your subject, and try to integrate them. And there again, it is not a that one solution can be there. There will be always idea, and you'll keep on, because any activity you introduce after 2-3 batches, it will become rote learning. So there has to be new flavors every time, whether you are introducing case studies or making the students aware about the accident and tragedies, and also then linking to the theoretical values and the concept that we are. Environment and sustainability is something which we have to be. It should not be just one paper. Okay, if we do the program mapping, it is there as a course. But as a chemistry teacher, I will like that any equation I am putting that, okay, if it goes into a tragedy like Bhopal gas strategy, how as chemistry student they can become better part of the society and make some life saving in that. And above all values and ethics, I think Corona has also shown us the bad face of our society as well as good face of society. So we need to increase good examples and we need to decrease. I think they are all educated people who have prepared 80 rupees medicine and sold into 80,000 rupees. Are they educated? Not in real sense. So what type of education? Just learning chemistry, physics, maths, commerce, Hindi, Sanskrit. Is this value? Is this education system? which anyhow, after the examination, they are going to forget. Teaching and assessment methodology has to be learner-centric and ICT empowered. So we are talking about moving from teacher-centric to learner-centric. Teaching learning, if we talk about theory and practicals, they are being taken into different. Similarly, the tutorials in our non-science subjects, project activities. So all this we have to be looking into the integrated approach, because how we learn, if we read or hear words, these two bottom ones, that is what we have been focusing in the routine 90% of the classroom, I will say. As you move up, you view pictures, you watch moving pictures, which is video, you watch demonstrations, you teach the activity, you simulate the activity, and you participate in the activity, you learn more. So from verbal learning to visual learning and action learning is what. So let us keep the verbal learning, convert into the visual learning in the form of MOOCs and the open educational resources, and start doing action in the form of group discussion, giving them activities, problem solving. And there even the problem of online class that the students are not listening. I will call my every student one by one, ensuring they are listening to me and not just sleeping. So flipped classroom methodology is what we should be all now integrating, which is the ICT empowered pedagogy. Blended learning just means that if you have simply classroom face-to-face, that is the face-to-face, and if you have only through online, then it is online. But if you try to mix them, that is what is blended learning. And under the broad umbrella of blended learning, where you can have millions of models, this flipped learning is now think up, where you give video lectures to the students before the class, and then in the classroom you tell them you come prepared with the problems and the questions that are arising, and then you solve the problems together in the class. That is what is the flipped classroom model. And here again, as per my own practice, it is better that rather than telling students to do individually watching, they will never watch, make study groups. And there also, don't make groups on your own. Tell them there will be always some leaders coming out. So the leadership capability, they will ensure the other are there. And every group, suppose you have 5 or 6 groups in the class having 6-7 students each, then every group should be asking one question here. And in every class, you try to repeat that it is not the same student who will ask. It has to be the different student every new class. So, and in my own practice, you ensure that yes, each and every student then participate and they become active. And after the class also, if some of the students who are not able to yet, and record that lecture also and give it to them on the learning management system, whichever. So this is how myself and Professor Bakshi, we have that integrating the Bloom's taxonomy and the flipped classroom model. So right now we are working on remember and understand level, where in class we introduce the concept and we leave the student outside the class, and analyzing, evaluating and creating is missing to a great extent. Now we go into flipped model, where outside the class we give them video lectures, open educational resource, MOOCs, which are focusing on understanding and remembering part. And then in class, we focus on the higher order thinking skills as per the Bloom's taxonomy. So this is one of the ways that we can find solution. Also, as teachers, we have to be looking into subject-specific benchmarking of learning outcomes. So what introduction and aim and detailing of scope of it, that in some way we have been doing into teacher C-Kit, that you try to list all the pedagogies and pedagogical supports which will be required, whether they are physical or technical, what experiments, what demonstration, what audio video support for that very small topic, and then what activities, what assignment, what group activities. And when you integrate the entire course, then you can see how many you can give it for this batch, and whether there is an overlap between different courses which is happening, as there was a question put up to my earlier speaker, that the students are getting overburdened. So you can even time up accordingly. Okay, in first month, it will be for course one activity, the second one, depending upon the flow of that event. So we have to go into all these detailed planning, and then and only then it will be. And also what techniques and criteria to be used for assessments. Assessment methods, I think multiple should be used. Right now, it is more of the subjective and rote learning which is being promoted, because the way teaching learning the students and the teachers are doing, it all depends upon the type of questions being asked. Look at the CBSE and IIT entrance, same syllabi, same students, but then the way the approach is there is entirely different. So what type of questions are being asked? Again, we have to keep on improving up the pyramid in the Bloom's taxonomy hierarchy. And one more input I will like to mention here is, which is again my own practice, which is beautifully done with the help of technology, is when I'm giving even a subjective test in my classroom as a small assignment, and the students have submitted, I tell them, okay, you submit the PDF, and then I tell them you evaluate on your own, or they can be in between as peer assessment also. So one is peer assessment, where they work in groups and come out and solve the problem and give the marks. So not everything is for marking. Formative assessment is more for learning. We can ignore some of these tests also, but then through the process, students really get confident. Okay, this is where I have done wrong. This is where I could do better, looking at the other peer assessment. And when we talk about self-assessment, it really creates value and trust between the student and teachers. So giving one example, just in last batch, I had conducted this similar activity, and I told the student that, okay, this is the now Google form, and you put your marks on your own. Question number 1, if you have done this part, 1 mark, this part, add 1 more mark. And then 2 of the students later approached me. They called me, madam, please deduct some marks because I have put up more marks here. So rather than that checking we do, I think it is better that we tell that, okay, this is how you should have answered, and this is how you should have marked. These are the missing things, and then let them analyze on their own. So in a way, self-assessment, peer assessment helps. And in technology, right, sitting me at my home and my students at my home, I'm getting their honest replies, building trust and confidence over them. So rather than we say, okay, now we have, and they'll say, ma'am, why you have deducted this mark? So the timely feedback is also very important. Rubrics, I will not go into detail because my earlier speaker has already mentioned that you need to have proper scientific way of even grading the subjective questions. But then all this is not possible at all without the teachers knowing what technologies are there, so that they can apply in their own subject and content. There are not solutions for every subject. So for every subject, every topic, you have to be innovative, and it will be only possible when you have some minimum know-how of these technologies. And this is the time to please upgrade. And NEP 2020 also focuses on effective use of these technologies to become effective online educators. See this, as I mentioned, the gross enrollment ratio is being envisaged. So many online courses are already in place. Many are being designed. So who will be handling these? All of us. We can take that as additional responsibility, and then, or maybe we can switch over if our job permits. So there will be requirement of teachers who are good in handling the virtual classroom. So not like that, okay, I'm taking class here also one way as I'm taking in there, and then I'm not able to know whether my student is sleeping or they are just listening. So we have to be looking into those scientific ways where we can handle the learning management system. I can come to know just on a click of a mouse, the flipped classroom video I have given to my student, who has watched and who has not watched. And I tell them, oh yeah, wow, you have watched it in 12 p.m., 12 in the night. Wow, very good. So these type of interventions, really, they know that the teacher is watching, and then they will start interacting in this new environment. And they should be undergoing rigorous training on learner-centric pedagogies, and how the teacher's role is in facilitating, not as an information giver. Information is there more with them than with us. And that's what we are doing at GAD-TLC. Ours is a Center of Ministry of Education under the Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya National Vision on Teachers and Teaching Scheme. And we have the mandate of conducting FDP, FIPs, and other programs which are useful for their caste promotional requirements. Our team has also co-designed the now mandatory faculty induction program, where there's an entire, so see all these modules, 12 modules, teachers, whether they require it for promotion or not, they should be looking into all these in detail, develop their skills around, and especially the technology part, our inputs have been taken as such. Now, even in teachers training, the way the technology is happening, not Corona, before Corona, I'm saying Corona has really seen the online training happenings, and we are again the front runners of evolving that. ARPIT program started in 2018, and that's where again we had been doing online teachers training through the SWAYAM portal in chemistry. So starting with 75 centers, we had now around lesser in the next year. Many could not meet the deadlines or the quality, and we have state-of-art video qualities that we have developed. I will refer those who want to see what type of videos are there. Just look at various programs so that when you are into these content development, you can learn. And here also we have innovative modules, because for teachers training, not the routine refresher course that, okay, this particular teacher is having this research, they will just speak on the research and go away. No, what are the gaps in the education system for the teacher's point of view and for the student? So right from history, chem history, then you have chem news, chem talks, chem safe labs, Nobel laureates, what is the contribution of chemistry Nobel laureates, and how for they have left legacy that also motivates chem pedagogy, chem simplified, chem ICT tools, chem error, chem quest, chem application, chem industry. We went into industry also. So different modules with the gap between academy and industry, which is there. And out of the 42 courses of last year's statistics, our chemistry has been number one in terms of quality of content as well as the number of enrollments of teachers. So what all you have to learn are basic ICT skill, I will say, is must. Word, Excel, and PowerPoint, you should know professionally. Many will say we know, but after our 1 week training, they'll say, no, we knew only 10%, because we never learned it in a professional way. And let me tell you, spreadsheet is such a powerful tool. Even myself, I'm using it for handling my projects, works, crores, which even the CA will take time to find out what is happening. I can do with the filter of, but then also I'll say I'll just know 10 to 20% of spreadsheet. Even more has to be learned from. And how these tools can be used in our assessment or report writing, even we can train our students into. Most important tool for teachers, without which now you cannot go further, is the PowerPoint preparation. But PowerPoint, most of the time I have seen, whatever is written in the book, the same comes on the PPT, and the teacher starts reading. I think that's the, you are killing yourself as a teacher personality. The student will say, Madam, sir, we don't need you. Give me your PPT. That's done. No, that is not the role of the teacher. You're not to inform me. So even if they are boring equation, like in subject my chemistry, I'll work on simple animations and talk as per I want to convey them. Or now there are also interactive modules, which books. See, here again, we have to see whatever is missing in the print. Can we use the technology? So if I am explaining these two, rather than the student rote learning their definition that this is simple cubic, and if they understand this is the difference, come on, they know how to construct their language and they can come out with the better answer. So the focus should be on making that understanding of the concept, not simply that, okay, this is the definition, this is how it works. So all this can take the new way of teaching learning. Animations and simulations make your classrooms more lively. The concept becomes more simple for the students to understand. And
it's scorching heat.
Just
the person is really thirsty.
Look at this.
He is willing to pay a good amount to get thirst quenching 1 glass of water. This is because he is getting immense benefit from this 1 glass of water. From the second glass of water, the additional benefit he derives is a little less than the benefit from the first bottle. Hence, he is willing to pay a little less for the second one. The economist's term for this additional benefit is marginal benefit. And so he derives even a little less benefit from third glass and would pay even lesser. This explains the law of diminishing marginal utility.
So what you understand just now is a difficult concept of economics. If we as chemistry or other subjects can understand, why not economics? So we have to look at those analogies we make, put them in interesting way. So now is the time to prepare for all these. And sometimes we say whatever we write on the board, no, that is something which will help understand. Even those can be captured with the help of screen capture software, like I have done mechanisms. In chemistry, we do write on the board, and there are something which can be explained better with these. So that part also can come into your presentation, and that's what is the multimedia enriched presentation. But then where you put all your content, you have to give flipped classroom video. You are also interacting in live classes as a face-to-face or live. I'll prefer that record each of your lecture and put that also, but where? Just sharing in WhatsApp, just sharing anywhere else by mails and all is not a proper way. So I'll say learning management system. And here again, UGC document says that every institution should be having learning management system, and the open source learning management system, which I personally really am using, is Moodle. So Moodle you can learn, and I'll say learn 4 or 5 of them so that you can analyze, compare. Even Google classes there as LMS, but then you will see that what type of functionalities are there. Sometimes a mix and match is used. So once you know these handling of learning management system, whether you are handling your class as individual teacher or as a group, you are contributing in state level or national level open education resource, or now even the content publishing is coming into this line where you can have royalty of your content. But now all these are becoming in new ways rather than just the textbook type of material. So combination of activities and videos and all that you can put up, but where it can be, and then how you structure it, how you can put it in week wise or topic wise, or then putting the previous year question, the prerequisite, everything which is required from student point of view. Technology is now giving a tool which the student can access anytime. It is like a board. There were like many innovation in the board also. They were very chote hote the, then many started making bigger boards also. Now this is a board which is traveling with you anywhere and everywhere. You just log in, and this is the board that you your own course in the learning management system, and ever expandable. You can put as much content. The only problem comes from the storage or the technical point of view. But I think if you have that sufficient, and you know how you can beautifully overcome that also by combination with YouTube, rather than directly uploading, you can save on the space also. So how you can upload the content of different forms, put them in a sequence as per, or give the sites link. Questions, I think questions, it is again, we all have to think what different new type of questions, technology empowered questions can be prepared, because not only the subjective, you can have multiple choice, true, false, drag and drop, numerical base. Numerical base is such good in majority of the subject like science, maths, commerce. The students can practice that. You have to just make one question. Technology will make millions version. Every student, when they are logging new, every time they will get a new version of that numerical question. Have we ever thought of preparing these type of question? So how technology empower? Otherwise, we'll keep on doing manual, and how many? If you have class of 50, will you prepare 50 questions? No, it is not possible. So how technology can smartly help you? This is what we have to know. And now audio, video based questions are also a reality in subjects like humanities and literature and other point where you are just writing, looking at the writing skills. No, you can check about the way of speaking, the communication skills. Tell the students, okay, prepare your presentation, record your video, and put it. I'll analyze as my own comfort level rather than taking it live. So all these things are there, and even at the global level, the entrants which are happening in these are looking for these type of questions. So we are also preparing the student, especially this open close type of thing, which is like entire paragraph fill in the blank type of thing can happen. Word formation, keyword for transformation. Many times the English or Hindi colleagues, they think that okay, it is only for the science teacher. No, don't be in that impression. Just be aware what all technology has to offer you, and then think how you can use it for your own context. Every subject you can benefit with the help of these technology and your empowered questions. And it's also time for gamification. There are tools where you can have gamification, where entire class will be in a competitive spirit, and at the back end you're doing real testing, because students are having a different way. They are really fun loving. So in between the class, not after, I'll say not after the class, as many say that okay, we should take, I'll say in between, come on, give flavors in between, one or two questions. You don't have to check, technology will automatically check and you get the answer what all can happen. And there has to be a proper methodology for preparation of questions and question bank, which institutions should be seriously working upon as groups. And then yes, peer review by another group. So that is very important before you roll them out into technology. Tagging into Bloom's taxonomy, which has been already explained in detail very well by my earlier speaker. We had done this Delhi University's first online examination long day back 2009, and they were saying because they were limited infrastructure, so how to conduct same examination in batches. So only 50 questions were there, 50 mark, but then we had prepared around 4,000 questions, question bank, and randomly it was generated. Every question was tagged, and there was entire blueprint was matched with the software also. And now at national level, you have National Testing Agency who is conducting various examination. And for credibility of degrees and certificate as institutions and stakeholders, we have to also know that how online proctoring can also be done. So we should also get aware about these tools as and whenever institutions take hold. And the analysis and report with these tools is so quick. Otherwise, you are not able to know if you have given a test that, okay, where is the problem area here? Once you have these analysis done on just a click of a button, you come to know that, yes, in my entire question, this particular question, none of the student has responded properly. So is there some wrong way I have taught it? Or the question answer is wrong if it is technically graded. So it will also give me inputs of improving my further processes of teaching learning. And also subject specific software is another area where in your own context you see where in classroom teaching they can be used, where the students will be inclined towards research. So they should be knowing, like as a chemistry teacher, if I don't know how to visualize these 3D molecules, how will I explain difficult concept like stereochemistry? So all these integrations are very important, and students start understanding these in a better way. Similarly, maths, commerce, the various tools for analysis, the graphing tools can be there. For languages, the translation tools are there. So just look at what your subject requirements are there. And those who want to really now take a plunge into e-content development of good quality, you should know how different graphic creation, some video capturing, video editing tools are there. In proper professional studio, this is my own studio, where we have done more than now 5,000 modules recording. So, and I'll share that many expert speakers who are very confident in front of thousands of audience, I'll say. But what happens in this closed room, just 2-3 people sitting, they are nervous. They're not. So just getting familiar, I think, will also have to be learning on voice modulation, performing skill, which also improves your delivery otherwise in your classroom situation, and that you can do practice with your own mobile phones. You don't need to wait for be invited in a high-end studio. So some video development tools, you can get idea how the chroma can be removed. You can put even this table is artificial in front of us, and the background and all can be created. So these are chroma techniques. So awareness has to be there. Okay, how these are happening, so that you also get. And at the end, I will say life is the most difficult exam. Many people fail because they try to copy others, not realizing that everyone has a different question paper. So this we have to keep in mind, that all the students are going to have different question papers of life, unseen by us also, unseen by them also, to solve. So we need to prepare ourselves. So the solution lies. NEP 2020 is a very aspirational document, but the reality will be there. It will be actualizing only when we have continuous capacity building of teachers, along with quality content and MOOCs preparation. We feel that it can really make a better and stronger India in the field of education, but with the emphasis on all those graduate attributes and the value system. So thank you everyone, and those who wish to know more or join in our events. This is our Telegram group that you can join, and we keep on posting event. Thank you everyone, and thank you Dr. Madan for inviting me. Thank you so much for giving me this platform. Thank you.